evening. Hi, Mary. Mary's straggling in. Welcome to the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Jeffrey McNutt, and I'm a community manager and practitioner here at the center. I wanted to start by reading a poem of welcome, but before I do, I just wanted to give it a little historical context. It was written in 1926 by the author of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes. And before I read it, imagine this is really the kind of the essence of how this philosophy was founded, because literally this poem is how the minds that were interested in this philosophy gathered together. It was in people's homes. Ernest Holmes dedicated the Founders Church of Religious Science 3 months before he passed away. And legend has it he wasn't really that keen on it becoming a church. He loved people gathering in his home, and he loved to gather in people's homes. So my prayer for the holiday season is that we really adopt that and be with each other in that kind of way. And so here's the poem. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and you are welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I swept the house and lit the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest within. The table is laid, and the fruits of life are spread before you. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink of the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome. Ernest Holmes. So I always find it a mini miracle when I'm up here looking out at the group, and just where my mind goes is just really understanding all the many paths that all of our lives have traveled to get to this group. And it's always a different group, and it's always an amazing group, an amazing collection of souls. And then through the major miracle of technology, I'm even more blown away that there's going to be hundreds of people online watching either tonight or throughout the week. What an incredible thing that is. And I'm blessed to be a part of it. So for those of you who are joining us online, use the chat feed and just send out a little message and let us know you're here so that we can interact. We have people on their phones, even in here, wanting to reach out and visit with you. So don't be shy. Today we're beginning our holiday season of light, and our theme is for the week is the deeper ground of your heart is waiting. The deeper ground of your heart is waiting. So Amani's going to bless us with a message, and then I'll be on Spirit Calling all week, taking that message into daily practice, and then culminating Friday night for the Art of Prayer and Practice across the way. We're going to be delving into this beautiful topic. So let's begin. On the wall behind me, you will find the reason for our being. It's our mission statement. Why don't you join with me in saying it? We are love in action, transforming lives and transforming communities. So if you're comfortable, close your eyes, and we'll begin by anchoring our time together with prayer. So I know that there is one beating heart, one spirit, one mind present this evening and articulating itself in a multitude of shiny, sparkly light, as Ernest said. I know that that is the essence of our oneness. So as we breathe in as one heart and one mind. And as we breathe out, we celebrate our oneness. And as I know this to be true, I know that I am here this evening on purpose to spread that love and to spread that light and to receive it from each and every one that I meet. And so I just let go and I allow this time of light and of rest to unfold. And I picture it as a living room we're in the living room of Ernest Holmes, and all is well. And so it is.
And so it is. Hello, everyone. I'm practitioner Clarissa Crow. And now is our sacred candle lighting time. So I invite you to just take a moment and look within and ask yourself, what is the prayer right now? What is the prayer that's on your heart? And folks online, this is your opportunity to type that prayer into the chat feed, or you can just put a little candle emoji, and David here will light a candle for you. Those of you in the room, now is your opportunity to walk up the center aisle and light a candle on the altar, and then you can move back to your seats the other way.
And if you choose to speak your prayer, you may use the microphone to my left.
A prayer request from Deborah Schoenbaum. A prayer for our family as we support each other in making some life-affirming decisions. May Sarah navigate the challenges of adulthood with courage and joy.
A prayer request from Stephen Alfonso.
Yes.
I'd love to put a prayer of thanksgiving out there for all the wonderful blessings in my life, and also hope that we would all pray for the people that really have a hard time during the holidays with depression or things that they haven't been able to deal with. And I think it's always good to remember them.
Thank you, Nancy. Vanessa Owen would like a candle lit for her practitioner 2 family. Simona would like a prayer for her friend Jamie, whose brother just passed away.
For all those traveling home from the long weekend, safe travels.
Prayer for Becky McAllister for a healthy delivery of her baby girl coming soon.
I want to say something for my auntie Carmen because she's been having COVID. She's really sick. I'm just kind of worried about her, and I love her. I don't want things to happen to her.
Amen.
Holding Auntie Carmen in prayer.
I'm asking for prayer for 2 warriors who are facing challenges. One is our Stacia King Satya, who served valiantly for the United States and is facing chemotherapy right now and is understandably scared. So know for her that everything comes out well, that she has all the resources that she needs and all the support that she needs. The other one is for a Ukrainian veteran. Before the war, he was a dancer and a tumbler, and he lost his entire right leg in the war and is just being fitted with a, what do you call that?
Prosthetic.
Thank you. So prayers for him that he can enjoy movement the way he did before, and that everything he needs is done for him.
Amen, and so it is. For Michelle Ratliff, for guidance and courage after losing her job while out on medical leave. I'd like to acknowledge our High Watch practitioners, Jerry Crippen and Laura Maness, and our altar host, David Coonsley. And so in this moment of divine perfection, what I know for sure is that every prayer request, spoken and unspoken, is already in the mind of God, that the healing has already begun, that the outcome is already known, that each and every one of us hold the highest and best for each and every prayer request that has come into our purview today. For our community, as we continue this grand expression of adventure, that we hold the highest and best for all of us as we continue our great measures. Knowing that each and every one of us are in the mind and heart of the divine, that my heart lives within your heart, and each one of our hearts lives within the heart of God. For God lives in, through, and around each one of us. Knowing this to be the truth with deep, abiding gratitude, I invite you to anchor this with me by saying, and so it is. It is my pleasure to give the sacred reading today. This sacred reading came from Spirit. The rays shine into the dark and nurture the newborn life there to be cultivated. And this is mirrored in nature as the seeds are buried in the darkness of the earth. We are experiencing the longest and darkest nights of the year. As we enter into a time where everything lies dormant in the silent earth, it is a sacred time of rest and reflection. This precious sacred energy is the fruitful darkness and silence where our heart's desires can be clearly recognized. When we fear our own darkness, we cut ourselves off from an essential source of our own personal power. These feelings can be inconvenient, uncomfortable, and sometimes feel like we have done something wrong. Feel and embrace these feelings. This truly can be our path to enlightenment. The darkness itself can become the spiritual cradle into which our inner light and our new life is born. Allow your feelings to guide you, because this is your truth. This is a time of great stillness and a time to rest and reflect, to change the direction of our lives with intention. For today, allow yourself to rest in the peace of darkness, knowing that you are always connected to the divine source. Most importantly, know without a doubt that your inner light never dims. Nurture yourself with compassion, honor the endings, and welcome the beginnings in your life that both honor your past and clears space to make room for what you wish to bring in. The deeper ground of your heart is waiting. Abundant blessings to you, my loves. We are here to learn something about ourselves, fully as spiritual beings having a human experience. Namaste.
Thank you, Joy Lynn. That was beautiful. Don't you think Joy Lynn should put that on the website? That was beautiful. Thank you. I want to share with you a poem invitation from Tricia Hersey's new book, Rest is Resistance. Tricia Hersey is also known as the Nap Bishop. And from her book, she writes, "The doors of the Nap Temple are open. Won't you come? This is an invitation for weary souls to rest. This is a resistance. This is a protest. This is a counter-narrative to the lie that we all aren't doing enough. We are enough. This is a counter-narrative to the lie that our worth is tied to the grind of capitalism and the lie of white supremacy. You are enough simply by being alive. Thank you for living. Thank you for resisting. Thank you for creating. Thank you for dreaming. Thank you for resting. We believe that our healing can visit us while we are napping, while we are resting, while we are sleeping, while we are slowing down. We believe that naps provide a dream and visioning space to invent, to create, to heal, to imagine. This is what resistance looks like. Won't you come? This is a resistance. This is a protest. Friar Martin Laird wrote, "Because our attention is so completely riveted to what's playing on the big screen of our thinking mind, we can live completely unaware of the deeper ground of the heart that already communes with God, that knows only communion, as branches know deeply the vine." Resistance is far greater than a political act, far greater than a social justice act or movement. Resistance is the way that we begin to bring ourselves back to truth. Resisting what is playing on the screens of our minds, what is playing in the conditions of the world. We resist that so that we can remember, bring our attention and our awareness back to the deeper ground of our own heart, which is already in communion with the divine. That is why this idea of resisting and communion are one and the same. Resistance is actually the condition we create so that we can commune. When you and I put our attention on all of the stuff on the screens of our very busy monkey minds, we forget that we even have a deeper ground in our hearts. We forget that there is a divinity as our inherent nature that is longing for our conscious awareness, for our lived expression of it. This is why we resist. We don't resist because we're good humans and we should care about all the things. We resist all of that so we can be the truth of who we are and this incredible gift of aliveness that we have. But it's all of the stuff, right? The capitalism and the white supremacy and the inherited cultural norms and the expectations of parents and ancestors and bosses and whatever that we end up giving ourselves to. Tricia Hersey says in her book, she will not donate her body to the system. And I was like, can I get an amen? Because that's when we are not resisting, We are literally donating our aliveness to BS. We are donating our very breath to something that doesn't matter. But when you and I decide that we actually are, as Joy Lynn beautifully wrote, spiritual beings, that you and I are actually made of God's stuff and are here on purpose by divine appointment. When we know that to be what matters most, the power we have given to all the stuff, the power we have given to whatever is playing on the screens of our minds, we get to take that power back. We get to take that attention back. We get to take our purpose back. Our very breath gets to be ours again. And I know that this is a concept that is hard to bring down to earth. But one of the things that I absolutely love about this season we are moving into, this winter season, is it is a divine built-in invitation to go, whoa, hold on now, hold on. I want you to remember, I want you to put back together what matters. And I'm going to give you an entire season to do it. I'm going to turn the lights down. I'm going to slow down the growth and activity of the natural world so that you can remember. And it is my hope, it is my prayer that each of us accept this holy invitation. That each of us make holy this winter season. It is why every year that the center and I do an interfaith, multi-faith celebration of these winter holidays, because every single one of them, from all of the faith traditions, from all over the world, Northern Hemisphere, but they do it in the Southern Hemisphere in their winter, are built so that we remember, for the purpose of coming back to what matters. Every single one of them. And so my intention during this next few weeks as we approach the winter solstice, when it officially begins, is that you and I begin to make a plan for this winter season. That we decide that we are going to spend this season on purpose, resisting the busyness, resisting all of the expectations that go with the holidays. Come January, I'm going to ask you to resist the new year. We are going to resist all of the noise and distractions. And we're going to slow down. We are going to dream. We are going to remember, and we're going to do it by sanctifying the winter. And to sanctify means to set apart and make holy. It's a word that I really love. Sanctifying this entire winter season. What would that mean for you? If you were to set it aside and make it a holy, holy season. And it matters because I cannot think of anything more important in your life, in the life of this planet, than returning to your holy nature. I can't think of anything more important right now than you remembering, putting back together your understanding of the truth of who you are. There is not a shopping mall that could be more important. There is not gift wrapping that is more important. There are not recipes that are more important, although I love the recipes of this season. When you and I peel away all of the inherited expectations of this season, and we peel away all of the habits, I'm not even going to call them traditions because a lot of them are just simply habits. No, but that's what we do on Christmas. But that's what we do on New Year's. That's just what we do, right? We buy the things and we cook the things and we travel to the places and we hang out with the people, whether we like them or don't like them. It's just what you do. You add the things to your calendar. You busy yourself beyond what is actually good for your own body and well-being. We often fill our mouths with things that actually don't nourish us because it's what you do. And yet, this season has been in existence. This divine invitation of winter has been in existence and has been gifting itself to us since the beginning of this planet. I'm thinking that's the tradition we want to double down on. Everything else we made up. And all of those faith traditions and all of the celebrations were actually made up in support of this divine invitation. And somewhere along the way, we forgot. Why is it we gather around tables and share food with one another? Why are we exchanging gifts? Do you even know? Somebody shout it out. Say again. Give and spend and God will send, which developed out of a pagan tradition, which was a divine tradition to honor the holy, which then just became some good old-fashioned capitalism. And I'm saying resist it. Resist the BS and come back to what is true. Accept this holy invitation into your own divine nature. Accept this holy invitation into slowing down, into putting down what does not matter, what does not actually serve your sacred self. All that is in the way, that is noisy and distracting from the deeper ground of your heart. The invitation of this season is to let it die. Let it be compost. Let it fall to the ground and feed the actual roots, the actual center of who you are. We'll talk about what you're going to plant in the spring, but right now, this is a season to let it die. This is a season to, as Joylyn beautifully said, to allow yourself to be cradled by the dark, to be held as you rest, as you sleep, as you sanctify your dream space. I was thinking a lot about this morning routine that I have spent some years now developing. And when I tell people about it, they look at me like, wow, you are crazy. Because I don't even like my mom gets mad because I'm not picking up my phone before 10 in the morning. It's not on. Because I like to spend the first hour waking up. I spend a whole hour just awakening. In that beautiful space between not all the way conscious and some lucid dreaming. But that hour is when I get some good, juicy messages from the wisdom. And I get marching orders during that hour. I get brilliant ideas. I get my accountability messages sometimes from wisdom during that hour. But that is a sanctified time, and I don't want to talk to anybody about anything, because that is me hanging out in dream space. That is me sanctifying a time for that deeper ground of my heart to speak to me. And then I take another 2 hours to pray and meditate and yoga and walk the dog, contemplate with my coffee on the balcony. And I'm inviting you to sanctify this season. And I don't mean like walk out of here with like, yes, winter is now holy, bye-bye. I am talking about, what are you going to do with your hours this winter? How will you create the conditions for you to remember? This is work to resist. That is why Tricia Hersey calls her nap ministry a resistance, a protest, a counter narrative to society. Because if you, like I, have set aside time for rest, have set aside time for dreaming and praying and meditating, then you, like me, will know that it is not an easy task to decide that I am going to take hours a day for this purpose. I am going to take hours away from where I could be being productive, and I'm going to hang out with my heart. So when I say nothing matters more than this season and saying yes to this invitation of rest and dreaming, I am not kidding. This is not some little preacher sermon thing that you're going to go home and be like, oh, that was nice. That was nice. That's a great idea. What you think she really would do that? Are we doing that? Really? We're resting for like 3 hours every day? Yeah. Yes, we are. I am asking you, your homework this week is going to be to identify 3 conditions, at least 3 conditions that you can create to sanctify this winter season. And I want you to take a moment and actually think about, like, what would that look like in my life? What are some conditions I could create? Ponder. I see faces starting to squish. My beautiful online community, put it in the chats. Whenever you're watching, we will respond. What might that look like? One of the things I was reading that Tricia Hersey does is she has a 30-minute daydream, daily practice of 30 minutes of daydreaming. How cool is that? She sets aside 30 minutes every day to simply sit and daydream. What might you do in your daily lives, in your actual daily lives, the ones with kids and grandbabies and volunteer commitments and jobs and chores? What might you actually do? Shout some things out. What's coming to you? Sing? That's one of mine. So I sing when I don't want to get on my yoga mat. I literally sing myself onto the yoga mat. I make up songs, And I'm like, I really don't want to do it, but I know that I'll be glad. I really don't want to do it, but I know that I'll be glad. Singing is one of mine. What else might you do? Dance. Dance parties as an act of resistance. Yes. Che Guevara said he didn't want to be at a protest if there wasn't dancing. What else? Laughing. And if anybody's watching the feeds, let me know what our online beloveds are telling us. Playing with your cats. Yes. Painting. Music. Journaling. Praying. Sunsets. Bubble baths. I couldn't hear that one. A gratefulness practice, absolutely. Lighting candles. Making art. Say again. Playing games. So all of these ideas that I just heard shout out, what if that actually became your main activity? Doesn't that, all the things that were just shouted into the room, doesn't that sound like a life well lived? Like, right? Doesn't that sound like, wow, if those were my priorities, I might be like fully experiencing my aliveness, this gift of life. And I think it's crazy when we really break it down. If you really look at the ways that you are spending your time, most of us, I'm not saying all of us, how much of that time are you really sanctifying as an expression, as the time for you to express this holy, holy gift of aliveness as a divine human being on this planet? Like if you were going to do a little assessment, my business people, there's a name for it, tell it to me. Like when you assess how people are spending their time, there's a name. Where's Candace? Candace, what is that? How you assess or measure? It's like a time management assessment. Yeah, it's an evaluation, right? But if you did a real evaluation of your time, I see some of you shaking your head like, oh, I don't know if I want to get that honest with myself. Right? I want you to walk into this season able to accept its invitation. I want you to walk into this winter season with a real plan where you have created some conditions so that you can say yes to the divine. Yes, I'm going to slow down so I can listen. Yes, I'm going to still myself so that I can feel. I'm going to quiet the mind on the screen. I'm going to hit pause during this season so that I can dream, so that I can receive that inspiration that is living in the ground of my heart, so that I can consciously experience communion. And I know that when you and I do that, when you and I have that conscious experience of communion, all the things that we long for in our life are waiting for us there. All the solutions to whatever is ailing you is waiting in that communion. Your best ideas. Tricia Hershey, in the invitation, told us why it matters to create these conditions, why it matters to set the season aside as a sanctified, holy time. And she said it in the invitation that she made to us. It's to invent, to create, to heal, and to imagine. When we set aside the time, when we say yes to this holy winter season and slow down and get quiet enough and still enough to invent what life is calling into being. Invent the solutions, invent the new way of being, invent the whatever that helps us move into a world that we actually want to be living in. It invites us to create. Half of the things y'all shouted out in the room were artistic endeavors, creative endeavors, yes? But not just create beauty, but again, to create the life you want to be living. When we are on the wheel, right? When we are on the wheel, or the treadmill of life, which is why I hate those machines. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. What is the effing purpose of this? When we are on the wheel of life, we aren't inventing, we aren't creating. We're just like, let me get it done, because it's what we do. And Winter says, hold on now. Remember what really matters. Remember your roots. Remember the ground of your heart. And when you do that, when you remember, when you come back to yourself and your wholeness, the inventing becomes possible again. The creating becomes possible again. The dreaming begins to happen. The healing. With many of us don't even know what needs healing, or is in the language that works for me and is science of mind idea, the revealing, that there is nothing to be healed, there's only more to be revealed. But revealing takes time and attention. If you don't even know that there is something in your spirit that is unwell, that there's something that's a little bit off, because you're moving at a pace, you've numbed yourself and distracted yourself to the degree that you're not even paying attention anymore to what's actually happening in your being. How do you know what's trying to reveal itself as you? Slowing down has to happen so that you can come back to yourself, so that your very being can communicate with you like, yo, that relationship over there, I don't like it. And you will have to hear those things, as Joylyn wrote in her reading to us. That in that slowing down, in that listening to the deeper ground of your heart, you might be uncomfortable. It might tell you some things that you didn't really want to hear, that need your attention, that need the time and the space to be invented new. But that's part of this invitation of winter. Some things must die on purpose. Misbeliefs, misunderstandings, even dreams that no longer serve and need to be redreamed. And finally, it invites you to go back and allow yourself to be born again in the sense that what has been forgotten along the way and all the busyness and the distraction and the numbing, it allows yourself to fully come back and let go of what must be let go. Remember what has been forgotten. And then that is what comes back to life in the spring. Might feel like a new you, but I would call it the true you. Come back and let go of what must be. That is the beauty of this annual invitation. This holy, sanctified season that the divine has created on purpose for you and I. But I would call it the true you. To remember. That is the beauty of this annual invitation. This holy, sanctified season that the divine has created on purpose for you and I. On your schedule on a repeated basis. To remember. Throughout the winter. And so, again, your homework, this gives you the time. 3 things minimum, the 3 real things. To things that will land on your schedule on a repeated basis throughout the winter. That gives you the time, the space to sit and rest in the ground of your own heart, which has always been in communion with the Holy Blessed One and has always been divine, that will ever wait for you. So if you don't get it this season, guess what? God's going to invite you again. Because that invitation, that opportunity to accept this gift of aliveness is always being made, and I invite you to say yes now. To say yes this winter. To join the resistance and begin to come back to your true self, your true nature that is so good and holy and so worth it. So I think this is our prayer, yes? All right, let's pray it in. To remember, to bring back together in honor of this holy, holy, holy life that is always been and always will be one life, one divine expression, one body of God, one incredible purpose. With breath in our bodies, as we have been brought here, you and I, by divine appointment, to be this very life. To have this experience of our own divinity as this stuff that is all made of God. Always has been, always will be. And when you and I say a holy, sacred yes to this moment in time, to this invitation from Spirit to slow down, to resist the BS and come back, come home to the very ground of our heart where we can be held by the divine, where we can be cradled through this dark season, where we can let die what must die, where we can remember what we have forgotten, and where we can bring it all back into the wholeness that we are. And I know that as each one of us says this holy, sacred yes, I know that the very conditions that we need to create to sanctify this season as holy, to remember ourselves as sacred, is already underway. All the support and resources and people and time that we need to do so is right here, right now. And I know that you and I are invited into remembering how important we are. You and I are invited in this season to remember that there is one priority. And that priority is that you are the very life of the Holy Blessed One. Nothing else matters. And I am so grateful for this truth. I am so grateful to be in community with folks who are walking this path of coming back and returning again and again to this truth, to the one thing that matters, our divine nature. This is how the world we want to be living and the lives we want to be living come into being. Thank you, God. Thank you, good. Anchor this with me in prayer by saying, amen. And so it is. All righty. I believe it is time to talk giving. We have 3 ways to give in this community. You can text to give, click to give, and pick to give. Turn around if you want to see those things on the screen if you are here in the room. And thank you, beloveds online, for all your generous support. And I want to remind you that this evening, for those of you in the local Albuquerque area, we have our community potluck. So you can join us afterwards in the social hall and give to that. Give to the reality that we don't do any of this alone. This returning, this sanctifying, this creating conditions for our divine nature. We do it together in support of one another. So I invite you, for those of you in the room, and for those of you online, put it in the chat, I invite you to share some of these conditions you're going to create in your personal winter and your holy sanctified practice. Because when we share those things with one another, we become more accountable to what we are doing and we allow ourselves to be supported in it. And I invite you to give financially today in support of that truth. Thank you very much. Take it away, Jeff.
All right. So if you're new to us, either those of you that are sitting in your living rooms or those of you here in Ernest's Home's living room this evening, it's a simple way to stay connected in community here. And it's through our website, abqcsl.org. And there's a button right in the middle that says Newish. Click here, click that button, and you can sign up really quickly for our newsletter. And every week you get a newsletter full of information of what we're doing together here in community. And you also get enrolled into this daily practice that I talk about, spirit calling. And that was born out of every April, years ago, every April, we would do this 30 days of prayer, and we would print these prayer booklets and distribute them around the community, first in regular old book form and then through email. And then we came up with this calling app, this calling and texting app. And we did a 30 days of prayer, and the response was amazing. And everybody came, gave us the feedback of that we want to do this not just in April, but all times. And so this Thursday, we will celebrate our 1,000th day in a row of delivering daily inspiration to this community. That's amazing. So, and it's really, to me, it's really cool in terms of creating a spiritual, if you're looking to create the framework of a spiritual practice, Amani gives her message on Sunday, and then all week we're kind of cutting it up and figuring out different ways to practice it and teach it and talk about it. And then every Friday night we get together and explore it a little deeper in community here in person. So my point is, you get all of that just by going on and signing up to be on our newsletter. You get Spirit Calling, and you can always opt out of it if you don't like it. We've had over 550 people come and receive Spirit Calling, and people come and go, but we consistently deliver that message to over 300 people a day, and it's really a wonderful thing. Also, on that website, you can look, if you're needing, the other thing we do in this community is we pray for each other, and we have a whole group of practitioners who are here to help you with whatever may be on your heart. So there's an email address, prayer@abqcsl.org, and there's also a section on our website in the About Us section that you can look at the bios of some of the practitioners, and if there's someone that you think you may want to receive that kind of support from, reach out. We're here for you. Potluck tonight in Ernest Holmes' dining room, which is down the hall. And if you're a new member, grab a plate of food, and then if you're interested in membership, Joy Lynn and I are going to be in, there's a little glass room off the side of the social hall, and we'll be in there, and you can join us, and we're going to be doing a new member orientation class. So we will see you there. And let's close this with our daily affirmation and then a song. So the affirmation is on the wall behind us, and if you'll read it with me. My heart and mind are open to receive the divine's gift of eternal light. Have a wonderful evening.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through tears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful week. We love you.